Beneath the hallowed facade of prosperity, the town's elite cloaked their malevolence with holiness. St. Joan of Arc Catholic Church loomed large against the night sky, its imposing Gothic spires like outstretched claws. As a newcomer to town, I attended Mass there, comforted by the marble saints aglow from votive candles. Father Gregory's sermon spoke of salvation and light overcoming darkness. But I would soon learn that sometimes darkness disguises itself in the holiest places. It started with weeping that seemed to come from the very walls. I froze as the sound echoed through the sanitary during evening service. When I asked others, they showed no signs of hearing it. Next came shrieks in the night from the direction of the church. I peered out my window, but St. Joan of Arc Catholic Church was steeped in stillness and shadow. However, I now noticed that some of its statues seemed to follow me with hollow gazes. The day I saw Father Gregory shake hands with a long-nailed man who seemed to materialize from a billowing cloud of smoke, I knew something malevolent haunted this house of worship. After the man left, I sneaked into the church's crypt, drawn by whispers below. A hidden passage in the mausoleum led to a charnel pit of fresh corpses and crazed cackling. Chasing me was a nightmare congregation of wide-eyed believers and a high priest who was no holy man. I stumbled back into the opulent sanctuary, my mind reeling from the horrific sights below. How could such evil fester under this revered house of God? The next day, I followed Father Gregory and witnessed him meeting with Mr. White, the town's wealthiest businessman, along with other prominent figures. Money discreetly traded hands, then they descended into the crypt. Finding my courage, I pursued them down into the charnel pits despite the risk. What I witnessed was unbelievable. They were conducting some profane ritual around a blood-stained altar. The town's poor and homeless had been rounded up and were chained to the walls, to be used as human sacrifices. I realized then that the wealthy elite of this town were not the upright citizens they pretended to be. They secretly performed heinous acts to gain more power and prosperity. Foolishly believing that sacrificing innocents to demonic forces would earn them favor, it became my mission to stop these fanatical murderers. I collected evidence and freed some intended victims. As the next ritual approached, I told the sheriff all I had discovered. He rallied deputies to raid the church and catch them in the act. We descended upon them as they prepared to sacrifice a defenseless orphan. Chaos and shouts ensued as the cultists were arrested. Mr. White used his blade in a final crazed act to slit his own throat before he could face justice. Word quickly spread, shocking all who had been deceived by their pious facade. The survivors were forever traumatized but grateful to be alive. And the once revered church now lay abandoned, a graveyard reminder that darkness can fester even in holy ground if good people do nothing to bring it to light.